Hey YouTubers, I hope you're enjoying the content. Before we get to today's video, I want everyone to go hit that bell over by the subscriber button so you're notified every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball discussion. Now, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, it's whatever. It's just the entire series as a whole. And I am once again joined by KihoKai 1994. KihoKai, what's up, man?
What's up, everybody? It's the guy who likes to talk about anything. You guessed it, Dragon Ball. What's up, Mark?
Not much. But yeah, man, so today we're gonna be talking about Dragon Ball, just in its entirety, and basically why you and I will never give up on this series. And
I won't ever.
Yeah, I won't ever either. And it's actually weird. I think you and I have similar yet different interpretations and takes on this, or our journey with this series, as I'm sure everyone listening to this actually has as well. And it's one of those things that we have to kind of explore together. So anyone who does have a unique story or a unique take on how they either discovered the series or stayed with it for as long as they have, or became a fan, or actually even started making content, I want everyone to go down to the description section, or I want everyone to go down to the comment section below and just kind of share your story with us as you're listening to this podcast type of video, and hopefully as it goes on you can add to it or something else like that. I don't necessarily care. But before I let you talk, I want to just kind of say Dragon Ball to me is a special series, and if I could kind of put it in the same category as another very special series of mine, at least in my own head, is I kind of feel like, and I made a video about this actually a long time ago, and I just recently re-uploaded it maybe a couple months ago, is Dragon Ball to me is basically like the anime Rocky. And what I mean by that is what it centers around, and there's a general story which I also like as well, but what it really centers around is it doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't matter who's the villain. It doesn't matter who's the main character or what we're focusing on, but the themes remain the same. And I think that that's really important for some person growing up, or even someone who's approaching 30 like I am, and also in a completely different area in their life and everything. It's weird to me that I can go back and explore those two series and feel not only that it's aged with me, even though it necessarily hasn't felt like that, or it hasn't actually created new content, even though both of them are, and I can get something completely out of it that I didn't maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And that is we have characters or themes that basically build off each other, where it's not necessarily about someone who is overly likable or overly athletic or anything like that. In all of these stories, there are situations where you have people like Goku or Rocky, or someone who can basically are good in their own right, but they have to overcome something even greater every single time. And to me, that's a really good type of storytelling. It's really kind of just a friendly type of storytelling where you could always find something to succeed in yourself, even though it seems impossible. And even if you can't, you can always find something that is just as good enough as it is. And I definitely think that that's something that I really kind of gravitate towards myself. Is it's not about what you can or cannot achieve. It's about the goals that you set for yourself, and whether or not you can actually feel good about where you kind of ended up in all of that. So I know that's kind of not really have anything to do with Dragon Ball, but that's just a really kind of, I'm trying to think about, at least off the top of my head, why I think Dragon Ball is such a special show to me. But we'll kind of delve more into exactly why we like it and kind of get more deep into that. But before that, man, I know that probably didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, it made perfect sense, man. I mean, okay, look, the show's timeless. So, yeah. That's basically what you were getting at. It's timeless, and whenever you view it, at whatever age you're introduced to it, whenever you're reintroducing yourself, because, we've had conversations where we had some off time with the series and then came back to it, ultimately because you love it. It's timeless. Anytime that it can make you feel as joyed as you were the last time you watched it, learning something new, building upon themes that you thought you knew as a kid and understood as a kid that you understand completely different as an adult, and you understand the motives of characters completely in a different light. It makes it timeless, and it makes you be able to watch it all the time. And I mean, for me, whenever I buy into content, whenever I buy into video games or manga or movies, like I want to be able to rewatch it. And there's a lot of people who like watching movies once and they say they saw it, whatever. But I like rewatching things, and that's this story, the simplicity of its story makes it timeless, and it makes it enjoyable for a broad age range of kids. I mean, there are kids when it came out 30 years ago in Japan that are most likely older and approaching mid-50s possibly, and they're still probably watching Super on a weekly basis.
No, I completely agree, and that's basically what I'm getting at is to myself as well. Is we have this situation where we are getting older, and yet I can go back to Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or even Dragon Ball GT and just find something that's relatable or nice or something I didn't necessarily see before. One of the cool things about that, at least in my opinion, is we have people like Goku, who is, the central focus of the entire series. And I'm not necessarily sure whether this is just me being naive or it also definitely has something to do with the Ocean dub and the Funimation dub as well, and how they decided to change Goku's character and everyone else around them, making him more heroic than he was, as selfish as he was in the Japanese version. But going back and exploring that now, and I feel like although he was kind of a iconic figure, someone to look up to, someone to aspire to, back when I was younger, it remains that, and yet it's a completely different take on it with Super or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball GT, any of them. When you look at it with the original subtitles or the original Japanese dub or any of that other stuff, where you realize this guy isn't necessarily who I thought he was, but that's interesting to me because what he is now, or maybe even what he always was to me, is something I can relate to far more at this point. It's not that he's a bad person, but he's selfish. It's not that he's a bad person, but he's selfish. It's not that he's unfair, but he's just kind of kind-hearted and all this other stuff, and he takes everything with such a stride that people just gravitate towards it, and it's one of the things that makes him such an enduring character throughout the decades that he's been the focus of this gigantic franchise that has just persisted all of these years. And it's one of the things that I believe is just one of the coolest things about the show is I keep, like you said, coming back to it and finding more different aspects to look at it. When I was a kid, it was Goku, but as I grew up older, it was Gohan, and it was Vegeta, and then now it's basically like Goten, because it's kind of the nostalgic factor, and I want to actually explore that, and I want to feel like I did when I was a kid. So I watch Super, and I go back and watch Z, and I talk about it like I used to talk to my friends on the playground and all this other stuff on YouTube, and I discuss with you and everyone else who's commenting right now, and it's just this thing where it's like because of YouTube, because of this series coming back, because of all of it, I feel like I'm just kind of a kid again. There's a part of me that's excited about it. I will look forward to every single time it's on television.
I mean, I work every Saturday, but immediately when I get home, I log on to Crunchyroll. That's like the first thing I do on Saturday when I get off. And I'm like, okay, internet connection works. I'm watching it. Now it's like what you were saying. After I watch the episode, now it's time to talk to somebody about it. Now it's time to like deconstruct this and do all this fun stuff, because I didn't do that as much as a kid. I was an only child, so like, and we moved around a lot because my parents were in the military. So like, I didn't really ever have that, what you were talking about, that kind of playground connection. I mean, I did with like Pokemon cards and stuff, but like most of my friendships lasted 1-2 years. Then I moved to somewhere new, because this is back. And you'll like this. This is back before the internet. This is back before MySpace, Facebook. Like, home phone numbers had to be known to call these people. Like, and once you move out of state, you forget numbers. You don't find them anymore. Friendships die. And so I didn't really have that, and I was always kind of looking for that. And the good thing about YouTube now is, like what you were saying, you're getting to re-experience that, and now I'm personally getting to experience showing everybody else my love for the series and explain everything that I've always felt about the series.
Mm-hmm. And not to get off on a complete tangent away from why I'll never why I will never ever give up on Dragon Ball as a series, no matter what it is or what it decides to explore, is with YouTube and the way we connect with each other now through the internet, it recreates that experience and everything around it that makes us nostalgic, but also, I guess, passionate about something that we were already passionate about. I mean, I'm sure you, as well as I and almost everyone listening to this, goes onto these networks or talks to people about this stuff, because no matter what we cover on YouTube or anything else like that, especially if you cover it, but if you watch the content and not just like my content or your content, but also everyone who does it in this, a selection of people who cover the same content in any community, it's, if you follow that, then most likely in your own social circles, you are probably the most excited about that particular thing to begin with. And it was hard to find someone who liked it on your level. Yeah. And I think that's important too with all of this. But like I said, getting kind of ahead of myself. The one reason, boiling it down, we didn't move around a lot as a kid. When I was a kid, I had kind of a stability point after a certain time. We moved around a lot when I was much younger. But we found a stable point, and I was able to make friends and talk about Dragon Ball. And you know what everyone did back then, you collect the toys. They even had that card game. I definitely collected
the toys. I 100% definitely collected the toys.
Yeah, like you collect the toys. They had that card game. You'd play.
Made no sense. The rules were terrible.
I had them. I never played the game. I don't think I ever played it. I couldn't find anyone to play the game with me. No one wanted to.
I recently started, as of when I started this channel, a year ago, I was going to do unboxing videos for all of the Dragon Ball Z Vengeance cards, which are the ones that have Android 18 and 17 on the cover of them. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, hell yeah, this comic book shop down the street, they got people that play there. Yeah, after I started buying them, that group stopped going there. Oh, and so I never learned the rules. I tried to read the rule book. I bought so many more of these cards, dude. Because I had them, like you said, when I was a kid. When you bought the toys, you got 3 cards sometimes. You got 1 card. I mean, they had individual packs at Walmart they sold right next to Pokemon. Yeah. When the show was actually airing on Toonami and everything, because they obviously want to sell merchandise to make money for a show. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, I've never known the plot. I could tell you I can kind of play Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of play Pokemon, but I can never tell you how to make a single move in the Dragon Ball trading card game. Not a single move. I just collected them. They look cool.
I'm the same way. I got them because I wanted to play with people, but then you realize that no one ever plays. And I kind of felt the same way with Pokemon cards. I felt like people were just getting Pokemon cards and never playing with them, because I never knew anyone who actually played. They just had giant collections. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little different. People would actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it was the simplest rules ever.
That was the playground game. Like I was telling you, I didn't really have a lot of people on the playground. That was the game that they would play whenever I was in school.
But Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Just had take all those card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had the simplest of rules. It was can my monster beat you? That's fine. That type of stuff. But when it comes to the whole Dragon Ball or Pokemon things, it was just it's just too confusing. And no one ever really wanted to do it. It just wasn't as popular.
We're gonna get so much hate for saying Pokemon was hard to play.
I never played it. I don't care.
I agree.
I never got it. But when it comes to Dragon Ball in general, like you were saying before we started recording, I did the same thing. I collected the toys, and I would have set them all up and create my own headcanon. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I had Broly versus everybody and Broly would win type of fights.
You mixed though, right? Like I even mixed. Like I mean, I had like Batman come into the the mix sometimes, and then Catwoman just gets totally like wrecked on by Broly or something. Yeah, like I did the same thing, man. Like I'll like if people want to see in the comments, let me know, and I could try to leave a picture. The Broly I own is so scraped up from me throwing him on the ground and then just picking him up and just trying to demolish, because his arms would only move up and down, and like I would just have him like wailing on people. That was fun. That's the whole point of this video. Like that's what I did as a kid, especially as like a single a single kid, especially as like an only child. Like I spent a lot of time with my mom, and we would play video games. Like we would play the Dragon Ball video games on PS2 and everything. We'd play with the toys. We'd read the books. Like that was it was an expanded thing that me and my mother had. And it was a nice connection that I really like. And off air, I was even telling you the reason why my favorite character in the series is Future Trunks, and Trunks in general, because you can count them as two people, obviously. I loved Future Trunks because when I got a little older, I realized he acts the same way I do. In a lot of aspects. I mean, he's very humble, which, I mean, I hate to say that about myself, but I noticed that he overthinks everything to the point of there's a problem in his head, and then when it doesn't go that way, it causes such a huge other problem that he never even thought about. And, like, I've seen that happen in my life, and, I mean, not going to get down deep into it, but, I mean, tragedies that happen in the series kind of go around with stuff that's happened in my life, and, like, I have such a connection there. And then like the connection between Kid Trunks, like especially as a baby, obviously, and Z and his mom, and how they kind of act towards each other through the rest of the continuing series also reminds me of our relationship. And it just, it puts a really nice feeling every time that I watch Dragon Ball. And like all the collections I had and everything, just all of the years that I spent doing all of this stuff, when I sit down and rewatch any of the show, like when Kai comes out on the Blu-rays, I'll sit down and marathon them all. Like that brings me a lot of joy just to rewatch this show and just try to experience something I didn't get the last 35 times I watched the whole series. I always try to find. I mean, I've definitely watched them multiple times in English with the varying English dubs. Multiple times in Japanese. I wish I didn't have to read the subtitles. I wish I could just put it on and just listen. But I mean, I've watched it so many ways. All the movies, I've tried to watch the whole series in as many different ways as I can. And especially through YouTube, I've experienced a lot of these really, really out there dubs from different countries that I would love to like dive into watching and seeing what I could try to get out of that as well.
And of course, there's tons of people in the community who do the exact same thing. I'm sure there are people who are listening here who can relate to overly relating to one character in the show, or because of family or personal issues, versus, you know, overly destroying one of your toys, or overly watching. I mean,
I've broken tapes. I've broken tapes. Like Funimation tapes, dude. Like I have a couple boxes that they don't have a tape in them because like I unwound it from the amount of times I watched it. It's bad. And that's with a lot of VHSs and a lot of kids that, if I don't know what age range really listens to
the
any
Sun
of us.
Coast, the Sun Coast,
everything, dude. Like okay, so like people who don't know there was a thing called VHSs, and they were really easy to break. And if you overly watch something to an excess point, like I know I did and I assume you did, they just broke. And there was no way of fixing it. You couldn't resurface the CD like you do with DVDs. You just had to buy a new one. And I have plenty of doubles of VHS tapes, most definitely, in my dad's storage facility.
Man, you know, I remember just me, and I'm sure most people who are listening here who are the older fans remember this as well, but back in the day, it was hard to find Dragon Ball on VHS. I mean, like not like recording it off the Toonami or off television,
Like the real release, yeah,
the
real release.
like the real release VHS.
I live next to a comic shop. That was the only reason I was able to buy them. That comic shop in particular, when I lived in Florida, they loved selling anything Dragon Ball because I guess the area around them was like a huge fan base because they always had the VHS tapes and they always had like the Irwin toys and some of like the Bandai exclusives and stuff like in there.
And that's the thing, like where I grew up, there wasn't necessarily, and you know, it's weird because I think it fluctuates, or maybe it's just stayed consistent, and I've actually become more aware of it as my tolerance has grown, and I kind of got out of that mindset of, oh, I'm an adult now, I don't need to watch anime, and then I came back to it. It was like, no, anime is great. Like,
yeah, I did the same thing.
It's not childish. It's actually good television.
It's quality.
And it's quality stuff, and some of those are some of the best stories I've ever seen. But you know, that's off the point. Like for some of the older fans, though, getting the legit releases, the VHSs, there used to be this movie store. It was nationwide, I think, one of the bigger ones, the Suncoasts. They usually were at malls or something like that, or I think the only ones I ever saw were at malls. But Suncoast always had a Dragon Ball. They had an anime section that was mostly Dragon Ball at the time because it was just the biggest thing out there, and there was a couple Pokemon stuff. But they had, at least the one in my town, an assortment of Dragon Ball VHSs, and never in order. I mean, it was like, here's one from the Saiyan arc, and here's one from, like, here's Ginyu taking Goku's body, here's Piccolo showing up to fight Frieza. So I had an assortment, and I eventually got rid of them because, like I said, I kind of, quote unquote, outgrew it until I kind of picked it back up again after.
You hate yourself now, don't you?
I hate myself now. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing is, I don't necessarily know why I abandoned it. I just felt like I was older than it. And I guess it's like, I don't know if you would call that like a rebellious stage or just entirely something completely different. I mean, I would definitely call it like a rebellious stage, but also this concept of adults aren't supposed to like this, so I don't like it. And of course, it also, you and I did a video that never aired, but hopefully we'll re-record it for your channel.
Oh, the audio's so bad.
But you and I did a video where I basically mentioned that when it came to, you know, by the time that the Funimation and everything, like, it was finishing up on Toonami, I had been watching it for so many years and was getting so old that I felt like it wasn't necessarily the proper thing to do at my age. It was kind of more of a childish thing. And also the boot arc was not necessarily something that I enjoyed at the time, even though I do now. So that might have been something to do with it, but I really think it was like social pressure, or just the concept that I'm the only one I know who actually likes this stuff, until I actually got to high school and realized that there was a good number of people who actually still liked anime.
There are clubs.
Like Japanese clubs and all this other stuff. People liked anime, but most people, and I found this for fact, most people are very closeted about it, even now. And
yeah, I mean, YouTube is their anonymous escape for it sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who do not have their like pictures out, their names out, like nothing that you can find out. They won't tell you where they live. They've never revealed anything. That they just want to talk about it with people on the internet, and they don't want to get figured out.
And it's just an interesting thing, because yeah, like you don't necessarily need to hide it, but you don't necessarily
Flaunt it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily flaunt it either, and it's one of those things that people, I think that's what it's just become, because it has this negative connotation to it. I mean, like I said, I'm approaching a better part of 20, like approaching 30 in a couple of years now, but it's one of those things where most people I know, and it just kind of drop some real truth, like most people I know don't know I do this. I don't necessarily go out and say I'm one of those people. It's not that I'm embarrassed by anything I do. It's just I've decided that I want to do this, and if I don't want any people who follow me just because they want to, like, just because we're friends or something. Like everyone,
yeah, like they're obligated to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes because I do flaunt mine, I wear Dragon Ball T-shirts and stuff now, and like out in public and all that. And I'll mention it to friends and stuff. But I understand that completely. Like you don't want them to pity follow you because, hey, we've been friends for so long. I guess I'll give you that view. I guess I'll give you that like, but I can't give you my real opinion on what your opinion is. There's no reaction.
They don't like it enough. Like that's the thing. Like most people who follow you or I or any of these other people, like they like it, and I like having people. I like people interacting with me who actually have an opinion and idea of what we're talking about and their opinions. And I really hope, like right now, like I keep saying, like I want people who are listening to this to go down in the comment section below and share your story. I don't care how long it is. Like,
I'll be in there.
Yeah, like I want to read that. I want to read everyone's story because I think everyone's different. And I really just want to share this because you opened up a little, and I want to share because I already kind of said I had given this up. I have been wanting to do this in a video for a long time, so I'll just use this as a forum for it. But when I came back to Dragon Ball, this is so weird. When I came back to Dragon Ball, so I've been in a long-term relationship for a couple years now, and one of her beautiful girl, love her to death, but I won't go into this. Like we try to keep it not very personal here, unless it's about Dragon Ball or other stuff like that. But the thing is, like one of her roommates was in a relationship. And I really liked the guy. Like I thought, like, oh man, like putting aside all of your personal doubts or anything about like who you are as a person, it's like I have my own weird hobbies or things that I like, kind of, that I don't necessarily flaunt or show my collection of or anything like that. But this guy, like she was dating, is like one of her roommate was dating, is like, I really like this guy. He's a really nice guy, like really kind of sociable and everything. Kind of a lot of stuff I'm not in real life. It's not that like I'm not sociable. It's just like I'm more of a recluse for the most part. I enjoy being alone for some aspect of life, but I also like going out with friends and having like genuine times, not necessarily hanging out with huge groups. Anyway, that's completely
that's 100% something else. Yeah, no. Yeah, I semi-agree. I like the internet sometimes more.
Yeah, so but we went over to his house to like, you know, just go chill, and he has this Dragon Ball collection. And it's weird.
I'm that guy.
It's weird. Like it's weird because I didn't think it. We never talked about it, anything. But he has this Dragon. He has all the, like, and it's not as big as yours. I've seen yours. It's not as big as yours, but it's, you know, he has posters and he has the orange bricks and all this other stuff. And I was just like, this is the craziest thing ever. So like we just spent the night talking about Dragon Ball because although I hadn't been like, this is around the time.
It all. You remembered every single thing though.
Yeah, like it was like that to me is Dragon Ball. It made such an enduring impact on my life. And around this time is when the Battle of Gods movie actually debuted domestically. So what was that, 2014?
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, so like 2014. So like it was around that time. It was before that time, really. It was really before that time. And they'd had trailers and all this stuff, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I won't see that because Dragon Ball was in my past. And this guy just had this collection out and about, like for anyone to see, and he was proud of it. He was like telling me about how, you know, he saved up just to get the orange bricks. And it's weird because, like I said earlier, I was always that kid who, if I loved something, like if I loved any type of media or something, I would just trounce everybody. And I realized
completionist.
Yeah, I'm a completionist. I would trounce. I've seen every episode. I know a lot more about it. And I realized I haven't touched this stuff in, at that point, 10 years. Like, or over 10 years. I had not touched Dragon Ball. I didn't look at it, didn't think about it. And I'm sitting there, and there's this guy with this collection that he's just displaying for everyone in his place where he lives. And I know more than him.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just weird. It's just weird to me that, like, why am I not, if this is true, why am I not
this way?
Why am I not this way? Why won't I display something that I like and actually follow and do the stuff that I like? So I know this is a long story, but bear with me. So what I did is I started rewatching Dragon Ball because I hadn't watched it in so long, and I started rewatching
from Ball,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I did was I didn't want to buy it. Like you said, I'm a completionist. If I buy one, I'm going to buy all of them, and it was an expense. Like, that's an expensive thing.
Yeah, especially depending upon what quality you try to drop yourself into.
Yeah.
Even getting all the blue bricks and the orange bricks, even if you get it off Amazon, I mean it's still $200-300.
Yeah.
To get the whole thing. Even counting GT.
It's expensive, and you would imagine like at that point, like these are huge expenses, especially when you're thinking about like student loans and jobs and all this other stuff,
and rent.
all the other adult responsibilities that you have at that point. So like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know like whether I'm going to buy them or anything else like that. So what I told myself, and I shit you not, everyone here, this is absolutely 100% true. What I told myself is I'm going to watch it. I'm going to stream it. And I'm going to stream it when I can, whenever I have time. But just FYI, I always binge watch if I actually own the thing because I actually bought the thing. Streaming to me has never been like a committal type of situation. It's not a committing relationship. If I buy something, I'm going to watch it. That's my mentality. But anyway.
I paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. So what I told myself, and this took, I shit you not, it took 9 months. And by the end of that 9 months, I had probably gotten to the fight with Frieza, like when Frieza actually shows up and they start fighting him by streaming. But I told myself, and I kept to it, is I'm going to take it as a sign. I'm not superstitious or anything else like that, but I'm going to take it as a sign that if I see, I'm going to keep an eye out, if I see DBZ on a license plate when I'm driving, because at that point I was literally, because of my film work and everything, I was driving
all the time.
I was all over Texas all the time. But if I see DBZ on anyone's license plate, anybody's license plate, I'll take that as a sign and I'll drop all the monies to buy all of it in the best possible quality I can.
What kind of car did you see that had the DBZ license plate then? I know that's where it's going next.
It was a Ford SUV, and this is 9 months of keeping alert in traffic and parking lots and all this other stuff. I turned it into a game. I would just always, if I passed a car, I would look. And one night we went out on the town with my girlfriend. I went out on the town with her, and we came back to her place. I parked behind a car, and I saw it, and I don't have the best vision in the world, but I saw something. It's like, I would almost swear that's
that was
DBZ. DBZ. And we got out, and it was like, she knew about this. She thought I was crazy, but she knew about this. And we got out, and I fucking freaked out. Like, in the middle of the street, I was just like running around screaming, like, oh my fucking god, this is like, after 9 months, it was the thing I had been searching for, the sign I had been searching for was in the place that I had parked and I had been like thousands of times before. Like,
it's just the perfect muse. It just turned into the perfect muse. It was like, I needed that. I got you.
Yeah, and it was
because this is what spawned right here from that incident. I mean, this whole channel and all of that would have spawned from this incident. And I have something a lot like that. Not trying to cut your story off completely, but I was in a moderately terrible relationship, and
okay.
and during then. I was in that I gave up on all that. I mean, I had done it before then, but I was still in that mindset. And I got into a new relationship a few years ago. And immediately, like, great relationship, no problems. We're still like that, no problems, but we don't even talk about that. That's too real. Mm-hmm. But whenever I got with her, she was always really interested in my hobbies and what I wanted to do. And we're getting to talking like, hey, what did you like to do as a kid? And I was like, actually, and I lifted up my mattress, and I was like, this is what I loved. And because the way my storage works, it's under the mattress. Well, with my old bed, obviously. But I don't live in that bed anymore. That's so small at this point. But it was all of my Dragon Ball shit. Like all the DVDs, all the VHSs. I mean, everything fit under this like almost double-decker twin-sized bed that had this huge storage compartment. It was all Dragon Ball stuff, like the old Dragon Ball Z magazines that used to like tell you what the new cards that were going to be coming out, like all of that stuff. Like I had all those. That's where I got all my posters for my walls, were from those magazines, and like I had all of that like under my bed. And she was like, "I've never seen that show. You want to watch it?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to watch it. What do you mean? What kind of question is that?" So we did what you did. And in about 8 months, we watched all of Ball, all of Z, all of GT, all the movies, and then that time would have been actually after Resurrection F came out. And so when the special edition of the DVD came out on the Funimation website, I bought that, and then we waited so we could watch that together as well. So I mean, like, and from that relationship and that encouragement that I've been getting over the better part of my life now, because I mean, I told you it hit a rocky point for a while, and like now I'm back. I mean, I don't think I've peaked at all, but I mean, I'm back on that incline of like loving the series, and like I want to do this until I can't. I mean, I'll be 60 in 40 years, man. And whatever Dragon Ball show is on, whatever Dragon Ball we're talking about, I'll be in it. I mean, I'll be on here, man. If I got to be on oxygen tank and it takes me 6 hours to record, if it takes me 6 hours to record a video, then I'm going to be doing a 6-hour video. I mean, if that's what it comes up to. Because I have that much of a love for the series that I forgot that I had. And when I sparked back into it, it made not only this life on YouTube better, but my personal life better, because I've taken things out of the show. I've taken ways characters feel or look upon situations, and I've actually learned from that.
And that's just the thing. It's like, it's not just the characters and situations. It's not just the lessons that they teach, and they do teach a lot of lessons to young people, older people. Like we said, you can get so much out of it that you didn't get out of it when you were a kid. It's really, and I stand by this, it's really just the idea of being true to yourself. The idea, and I feel like it's worth saying, and it's worth doing this long video and sharing these stories when it comes to stuff like Dragon Ball or anime in general, anyone who's a fan of anything, because like I said earlier, it is such a cliche. It is such a social paranoia that I like anime and people are just going to bluntly assume that yada yada yada.
Act a certain way.
I act a certain way, or I like something else that's completely inappropriate, or something like that. And
I think that's what's driven me. Not to interrupt you, but I think that's what's driven me about it. I'm like, hey, I need to find out more about this. So if somebody comes up to me, I'm not like, I feel the childish aspect is to not know about the show. Like, hey, I know a lot about the show. Like, you don't know about the show. Let me try to conversate and have a good conversation with you and make it adult-like, instead of you having that kind of mind of, like, it's just a child show.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, you even approach people who are fans, and I do this all the time. I've approached people as a fan who are like, who I thought were huge fans a while ago. Before I started all this, people who are my friends, who are like, I sit there and I learn a lot from everyone else in the community, and I think we do teach each other a lot, and we teach each other to look for details or situations, speculation, anything that we enjoy. As long as you enjoy talking about it, I don't see there's a huge harm in speculating or theorizing, fan fiction, just news in general or anything like that. But I've learned a lot, not only from people like you and everyone else, other people who have passion, that I do approach it in such a mature and honest and sensible way that I talk above people, not intentionally, but I do. I have to sit down sometimes and explain to people why Broly isn't canon, or like why Broly never really happened in the real series. And like, to me, it seems like a childish sometimes. This is not like I try not to be high. I'm not trying to be high and mighty about it. I was like, to me, like now, because I've spent so much time with it, and obviously because I've spent so much time with it,
it's an obsession.
It is to I guess hopefully a healthy degree. It really is, and so we've spent time with it. This just seems like child's play. This factoid is not something worth being discussed, but for some people it is. For some people it's weird that certain things are just facts. And I think a lot of people especially people who are listening, and especially the people who are listening gotten this far.
I was about to say, even if you're listening at this point.
If you're still listening at this point, I feel like you have the same mentality that we do. It's like, it's just something you enjoy, something that you take stride in. And the one thing about this video, I think hopefully the thing you walk away from, even though, like I said, if you've gotten this far, you hopefully have as well, is these are timeless stories, and these are narratives that can basically be taken any way, and they can go almost any direction. There's no indication of like what is or isn't supposed to happen. They just basically play out the way that they should happen for the most part. Toriyama writes from the hip. I've said a lot. He just, the seat of his pants. He doesn't necessarily think about it, but there is this weird sense of consistency when it comes to characters or moods or anything else like that makes this stuff timeless and can persist throughout all of the stuff that we actually grow up with and experience in our own lives, where when we can go back to stuff like Dragon Ball, or like I said in the very beginning of this video, stuff like Rocky, and see things that we never saw before, or take something completely differently, or interpret a character in a way that we never saw before, because it's simple and because it's only meant to be here just to kind of lift your spirits. And it's not supposed to be dramatic. It's not supposed to be overly thought. It's just something that it is. Not to say, because I do this a lot, but not to say that we shouldn't overthink it. I like overthinking it, and I like the people who overthink it because it's just fun. Like,
it's a mindset. Because if I wasn't doing it about Dragon Ball, like when I had my hiatus, quote unquote, of Dragon Ball, it was Futurama. It's not even just the show. It's like the people who do this. It's a mindset. Like if you weren't doing it here, you'd probably be doing something exactly like this somewhere else in your life, or with something else.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine.
Yeah, no, of course. But I just thought of this, especially talking about timelessness again. The kids who are growing up now and grew up on Kai over the past few years and everything, mm-hmm. I've realized, because there are, I'll kind of count myself in the older. I mean, I'm not old, but I'm not 18 either. You know what I mean? So
no, yeah, but, like you remember the original run, and it wasn't like a week.
I remember the Toonami run. When it wasn't
like a week. Kid. Yeah, when it wasn't a week for week thing, like when it was like day to day.
And that was the thing, was with Toonami, especially as a kid, I was allowed to watch a lot more adult things than I probably should have been. I would watch Toonami all the way into Adult Swim when Adult Swim first started, and they started airing like early Futurama and like all of those adult cartoons, and I'd watch those through. So I'd watch Dragon Ball Z all the way into that whenever that started running in, because mm-hmm. I have old tapes that have Toonami promos, and then 45 minutes later it's Squidbillies. I mean, I don't remember the exact thing, but I mean, like that you can watch the tapes and you'll fully see it. I may even copy them all over to DVD so I can kind of show people. But the timelessness of it, with all these kids that have been growing up on Kai and all that, you and me grew up on the Toonami run. I was in Japan for a little bit when I was a child, didn't speak a word of Japanese, watched the show and could identify I had seen the show before, no idea of what the story was. When I came back to the States was when I was watching it on Toonami. And I hated for so long the Frieza arc, because having to see it so many times when they just flipped it back, because a lot of people don't remember with like the gold dub, dude. So they played the gold dub up until they had the Funimation cast continue on, and then they were like, oh, okay, we've ended this. we're gonna re-show it again, but we're gonna fix and use different, like, we're gonna use the Funimation guys, and they re-aired those before they ever continued on with the story. So I mean, I saw, and you were saying day for day they'd play it every day on Cartoon Network, and that's the worst part, is I got to watch that arc so many times that I grew to dislike it so much until I just stopped watching it for those years, and then I came back to it, and I was like, okay, I can watch that. And that's another reason why I'm so tired of them bringing back Frieza, is because of what they did on Toonami and the aspect that I saw it that way. Because the kids that grew up on Kai probably love the Frieza arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't watch it 6 times.
Oh, they probably... I mean, it's taken them so long to get the final chapters that...
Yeah, they could have just rewatched Kai a bunch of times, you're right.
Yeah, so they might have rewatched...
So maybe they hate it too.
Maybe. But, like, that's part of loving anything, really. And that's another point I would really like to make is, like, it's part of loving anything. I grew up with Dragon Ball, and I'm in the exact same boat. Like, the way that Toonami handled it was infuriating. Because back then, at least when it came to me, I don't know about anyone else, but back then it was like, we had TV Guide. You know, you had the
silver book every month, right? It was monthly, I think.
Well, you had the silver book, but you also had the channel with the scrolling.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, yeah.
So, like, you didn't know exactly, like, when anything was coming on or what was going to be the episode. So it would get to a point, you're like, oh, man, I'm totally into this. And then it would just be like, for whatever reason, now we're back, like, 30 episodes. And you're like... What? And for anyone at the time, right now, like 30 episodes sounds like, oh my god, like 30 weeks. It wasn't like that. It was like, okay, that's 30 episodes is like 6 weeks.
Yeah, this is what I saw like 6 weeks ago. Like, this is super in my brain already. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to watch something else.
And it would just be like that for years on end. It would just never stop. And then we just had to get over it, move on, and keep persisting. And that was the thing that I really didn't enjoy about that particular situation with Toonami. But having it once a day, I mean, for the weeks that it was new content every single day, getting home, rushing home, just to see it. And then the days when you missed it was dreadful. Even though nothing happened, you felt like you were missing the entire world, and it was just not necessarily the right thing. It was just it didn't necessarily come together for me, where if I missed one episode, it'd be the end of the world because I needed to know what would happen next in the story, and I didn't necessarily want, because you remember back in the day, especially with the announcer and everything, you know, the narrator, he'd be like, what's going to happen here? Will Planet Namek explode? And all this stuff. And you're like, oh my god.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
And I was young and impressionable, so I would always be like, oh my god, like, the next episode's going to be the last episode. The next episode. And it was never the last episode.
That's the way they made it feel. He was like, I mean, obviously it's a marketing gimmick because that's what they want you to do. But yeah, I agree. And think about the announcer's voice. You said you had the tapes, so you remember the whole like little promos they had beforehand, the Funimation, where it was like, check out DragonBall.com for all the newest stickers, collections, and calendars, and it's like just goes off for like 5 minutes, and then you see the 7 Dragon Balls popping up. It's like, now on Dragon Ball Z, and it just fucking went in, dude. And like, I remember being like a little kid, and when I'd have the tapes and pop them in, I just like start like, not like actually physically shaking, but like you just get so hyped. You're like, it's starting.
Like, exactly. Like, just in general, there was just so much excitement for it, and I would just be remiss if I didn't just reiterate this point and make it incredibly clear that one of the reasons I do the YouTube things, one of the reasons I interact with, you know, one of the reasons I make these videos and interact with people and everyone is because of that excitement when I was a kid. I remember, you know, just kind of breaking it down, making it a little bit more real. I remember, and I don't know why this persists in my brain so much, but around the time I'd actually given up on Dragon Ball, and I moved on to something. At that point, like, I was a giant Saul fan, and I was doing this, like, if it's not one thing, it's another, and if it's not one thing, it's many things. But with me, I'm sure most people can relate, but it's I'd given up, and I was telling my mom, and this is just like I've always been. You mentioned your mom. I mentioned my mom. Like I was always kind of a rambunctious kid when it came to like debating and just being yourself or something.
I would
like,
never be able to tell.
and I was always just rambunctious. Like I always had my opinion. Like, and my mom has always been one person to listen to me and just kind of express her own opinion. So I just remember this conversation because she picked me up from school one day, and she was driving me back, and I was just livid, and it seems so ridiculous right now, but I was livid over the fact that they were going to be making Shrek 3 or Shrek 4. It was Shrek 4. It was I was livid about it, and she was like,
because they're ruin the franchise.
Because they ruined the franchise. Like the last one was terrible, and now they're making another one, and they're gonna make 6, and this isn't like blah 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 blah. And I didn't like Shrek. Shrek wasn't my favorite movie, but I told her, because I told you and everyone else, like I'm very much a completionist, so it's not like I'm not gonna see it. So. Because I had already seen the other ones, I'm going to see this one. And she just got this air about her, and she was just like, I remember when you said, like, you would never stop watching Dragon Ball or Power Rangers or something like that. And it just feels so relevant right now because it's 2017 and Dragon Ball and Power Rangers are back.
Both came out, yeah. That one hits right in the heart.
Yeah, and it's just like like you moved on from those, you'll move on from this and everything. And I was like, yeah, like that makes complete sense. That makes total sense. And now look where it's like I understood where she was coming from, but it's just so interesting, and it's such a, well, maybe not. Like maybe you were right. Like when we're in 2017, and I have a growing channel that talks,
about a child's cartoon.
Most exclusively about a child's cartoon, but all this other stuff, and it's just it seems so interesting to me. And now like like to the extent where I can actually build an audience around actually talking about something that I love like this. It's just, I don't know why that just sticks in my brain so much, but it definitely does hit, like it hits home for me for the most part.
Yeah. And I don't know what you're going to title the video. I don't know if it's going to be like real to real Dragon Ball, but I mean, nostalgia could be a major aspect of this whole video. I mean, that's what we've been playing on the whole time. But I don't even know, man. Like it's just such a good series, especially like when I came back, and I mean we've probably reiterated our points like 6 or 7 times, but it's just such a joy every time I sit down. Like I was writing a script earlier because I'm one of the few people, I guess, that still writes scripts.
Yeah.
But I was writing a script earlier, watching the Cell Saga for Kai. I primarily watch Kai now.
Mm-hmm.
Until I get the Dragon Boxes, I'm going to primarily watch Kai. So I'm watching it, and I stop typing and just look up at the screen. And I just start sitting there for a second, and I like realize I've watched an episode. I was watching the episode where Goku actually fights Cell for the first time, like during the tournament, and I was like, wait, I gotta be doing something. I don't need to be watching. Like, I was like, I'm just sitting here watching the TV screen. I'm supposed to be doing something else. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Just every time it comes on, it's just crazy. And I had such a big collection, and now I've been growing my collection even more. So, I mean, like, it's just taken over my life, especially with this YouTube thing. I'm super small on my channel, but, like, even though I do 1, maybe 2 videos a week sometimes, like, I really do try and, like, put my thought out there as much as I can, because the series is so enjoyable, and I just get so much from the series, like the 1,000 points we've made before, that I don't see myself stopping now.
Yeah, no.
I can't see it. I already told you, and I guess I'll announce it to the world. I'm saving up for the Dragon Boxes finally. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to stop watching if I pay that kind of money for some DVDs, man.
Yeah. Those are expensive, but no, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree. I've invested time, energy, money, in a hell of a lot of emotions into a series, and I feel like.
And then recording equipment, softwares.
Yeah, it's
computers.
It's just everything, and it's. I don't think it wasn't worth it. I think it has brought a lot, and I just feel like it gains a lot from being such a simple, relatable, just enjoyable series that is so off the wall sometimes that it creates a rampant amount of discussion, and not just to mention the way that Super's back and now it's more of a weekly discussion more than just like a sporadic
and a global discussion.
Yeah, more than it's not even at this point a sporadic nostalgic discussion. It's actually an active discussion,
participating discussion. Yeah because I mean they could claim whatever they want. I don't speak Japanese, so I can't ask anybody directly, but Toei and their writing staff has to know who Team 4 Star is, because I mean Funimation knows who Team 4 Star is. Toei has to understand what we do. I mean, there's YouTube in Japan, obviously.
There's
you're right. I'm sorry. No, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I mean, they have to be able to see all of this. I mean, I don't know if the reason they brought back like the side story Reborn as Yamcha and all that, or the Xenoverse 2 quests where he's super strong and like I don't know if they did that because they're like, oh, they always make fun of Yamcha, but there's all these other anime shows that have this depiction of Dragon Ball. They all try to reference it, and some not so noticeable, and then some completely 100% that's a ripoff, and you guys are totally trying to make your episode, and not in a bad way, in like an homage way. You guys are totally pointing out that you like Dragon Ball, or that you respect it.
Yeah.
And after the 30 years it's been on TV, just like The Simpsons, I don't see it stopping. I mean, even if they are to stop production of any of these shows, including things like The Simpsons, the fandom at this point, there are parents who have brought it down to their kids. If I ever have kids, man, they're gonna watch Dragon Ball.
My nephew and my niece will watch Dragon Ball if I have anything to say about it. My kids will as well. So yeah.
That's just the thing. Like, you're gonna spread it, they're gonna spread it long after the voice actors are
deceased.
Yeah, and it's something that can happen in the next couple decades for the Japanese.
Yeah, in the next couple of years. I mean, Nozawa's.
I'm trying not to be so sad.
I'm
about
not.
it.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's
not
why I
trying
said
to,
decades.
Yeah, but Nozawa's really old. Not that she won't live another decade or longer, but she's very, very old.
And she does at least 3 characters I know for sure off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean she most likely does more.
She's a hard worker.
Yeah, I mean Chris Sabat does 27 voices in the series. I mean, anything happens. I mean, they replace actors. I mean, stuff.
They will.
Stuff can happen.
They will. But yeah, it's bigger than a voice actor. It's bigger than anything else like that.
It's a culture.
Yeah. It survived over a generation, and it will survive longer, and not just because it's a good show. There are plenty of good stories. It's just timeless, like you said.
No, yeah. Man, I can't believe how long this one is at this point.
No worries.
I hope there's people still listening. I really do. And again, this is like the 6th time that we'll say it, but like I really want to hear what everybody says. I mean, I'm in this video, so I'm going to look at the comment section. I'm going to watch this video again myself. I mean, I'm going to put into the community what I want people to put into the community as well.
We'll do it. We'll do a challenge because I'm interested to see how many people are still listening to this point. At this point, I don't think most of them are. I think if you're still listening to this at this point, you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, and you did. I hope you enjoyed what we said. But if you are listening to this discussion at this point, please in the comment section below, whether you've commented at this point or not, go back and comment #nostalgia,
Hashtag nostalgia.
I just want to say, because that'd be an interesting thing to see how many people actually do that, to actually show how many people actually listened up to this point. But I think
how many nostalgia tags do you think there's gonna be?
If I had to guess, like, I would say maybe 5. I would say 5.
I was gonna give it a solid 3. So anywhere between those two is gonna be a pretty good one.
There's gonna be like a solid 4. But no, like, yeah, guys, like, honestly, if you have listened to this video this far, I do very much appreciate it. And not that I said it in the beginning, but please make sure to go check out KihoKai 1994. The guy makes some awesome content. He is, if you got any indication of who he is and what he wants from this and why he does his YouTube channel, this is probably the video to listen to. And like, if you've gotten this far, then you really should go check him out, because he opened up just as much as I opened up about love for the series and why exactly we're doing this. And I think that that's actually really important. So guys, we do hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a very long one, but we had fun recording it.
I had an amazing time.
Yeah, it's something else. It's something. Thanks for joining me, man. Like, it's something I've
no problem. I always loved enjoying you. No, I enjoy coming on anytime, man. Like, anytime you ever need any help, or anybody in the community, anybody wants to talk. That's why my whole series is called Talk Dragon Ball. That was the whole point of it, man.
There you go. But yeah, like, that's the point. So like, anybody who wants to talk, please make sure to go check him out. He's I'll tell you what, just like some real information, smaller YouTubers who make good content will talk to you more than bigger ones. Even me, I get busy, but he's not as flooded as much as I am, or as much as anybody else is. So if you want people to talk to, and this is not me putting anyone down, things get buried, and life gets in the way. It's just a part of life. But people will talk to you if you look for the right people, and people who have the same sensibilities as you. People will talk to you. People want to hear what you have to say. So I think that, like I said, man, this is like a video I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm really glad you can join me, because I think you brought.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to be on it, man.
Yeah, I think.
Because I mean, from our talks behind, like, I was getting more of that feeling, like, hey, like, this is here's my deeper story on it. That's something I never got, because I'm actually a fan of yours that has now been able to cross that divide. Well, that kind of makes sense.
It makes sense, but I am with Danny on this. I don't like to call, like, I don't think
fans.
I don't think I have fans. Like, I really don't think I have fans, just because there are people out there who do, I'm sure, but I do what I do because I love it. If anyone listened to this, or you yourself, like, I don't want anyone. I said this on my stream last night, like, or when recording this, it was last night, but I said on my stream, it's like, I really don't want anyone to basically think of me like that. If you want to approach me, if I see your comment or something, I will try to respond. And especially if you want my attention or want me to see something, I will look at it if I can. And if you want to work with me, I want to see if you can actually, like, what your process is. So yeah, but with that being said, like I said, like, thanks for coming in, thanks for sharing. I think this has been a interesting, if not relatable conversation.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So
too real.
Yeah, way too real, right? But guys, with that being said, please make sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Go check out KihoKai, like I said earlier on, and don't forget to hit that bell for notifications for any future content that I make, so you don't actually so they don't get buried. If you enjoy the content, then please hit that bell. Anyway, guys, we're gonna catch you on the next video. Bye.
Catch you.